Welcome to TheeDigital's SEO Basics training. I'm Lauren Clay, Marketing Director at TheeDigital, and I'm excited to guide you through the essential strategies you need to optimize your website and improve your search engine rankings. Whether you're new to SEO or just looking to brush up on the fundamentals, this training will equip you with practical tips and tools to help your business stand out online. Let's dive into the basics of SEO.
At TheeDigital, our headquarters are based in Raleigh, but we have clients all over. We have been in business over 20 years. We're a very tight-knit team of digital marketing experts and website design and development experts as well. We're all very passionate at what we do. We love to help, small, medium-sized, established businesses really grow their businesses and really take them to the next level. Okay, so why are we all here? What is SEO? So really SEO is the practice of really trying to increase not just the quantity of organic traffic to your website, but really wanting to get quality traffic. By implementing SEO, search engine optimization, it helps these search engines, mainly Google, figure out what it is that you do, what services, what products you provide, how each page is relevant, and then how they can be useful to your users. A big one is writing really engaging quality content, and that really helps you reach that ideal audience for you as well. So a term you may have heard mentioned is crawlers. So these are crawlers that crawl the internet for new pages like Google. So when you add new content to the website, may take a day or two, but there's constantly crawlers out there finding new pages, trying to identify what they are. But crawling a page is different to a page being indexed. So an indexed page is where it's actually, if you Google something and the search results come up, they are indexed pages on Google. So Google may have crawled the page, but may have decided that it wasn't worth indexing. That's where the quality content comes in. So just kind of a random fact of 400 billion documents were indexed in 2020. Okay, well, how do they decide what to index? Well, they index my pages, and that's where a lot of those best practices come in with search engine optimization and what we can do to tell Google that, hey, this page is worth indexing. And that's what we do. So kind of an interesting piece of info. So let's say we'll kind of go with Google. They don't visually see your website. They can only read the text. So they're only looking at the text in HTML. So they have no idea of the design of the site, what it looks like. They can't see images. So that's why that the content is just so important, because it's all that the crawler can read. So these are just some kind of high-level guiding principles that we use on a day-to-day basis. Whether you are creating content, building links, doing any sort of technical SEO implementations, we're always thinking of this phrase EAT. We're thinking of the experience, expertise, authority, and trust. And this is really important when you're creating new pages, new product pages. When you're writing content, you're the authoritative expert in your industries. And so really putting that across in your content is really what's going to make you stand out to someone that, maybe isn't as familiar in the industry. So really providing that expertise in the content that you're providing is really important. So moving on to on-site or on-page SEO. So this is really about how you can optimize the elements on the website to help give the search engines, but it's not just search engines, it's also the users, a good understanding of the particular page that they're on, your website as a whole, what you provide, and optimizing the different elements there is going to be really important. So the first place to start really is the keyword research. So understanding the types of keywords that your audience are searching to get to what they need. If it's a specific service that they're looking for, a specific product that they're looking for, having a good understanding of what those search terms are is the best place to start. And we'll kind of get into a bit more detail on the keyword research aspect in a few more slides. And the next one is the URL structure. We're going to go into detail of all of these key points, so don't worry if I'm breezing over them. But these are just kind of high-level things that we want to make sure we're looking at to optimize the on-page SEO. The title tags and meta descriptions, the different headings on the pages, images are kind of touched on, the internal links, which is kind of how the site all navigates between each of the pages. And you will hear me say this a lot, but most of all is the original and relevant content. That's going to be our key factor to success, is making sure that we use content that's of really good quality. I'm always interested what people think about the content AI tools, if anyone has used ChatGPT to write content. So please put your thoughts in the chat, because we're always interested to hear people's opinions on ChatGPT and Gemini and using these automation tools to write content. Our kind of standpoint on writing content with these AI tools is they are great ways to give you prompts or give you some ideas to maybe flesh out maybe some of the layout of content, or if you have writer's block and you just need some ideas of how to construct something. But anytime a client asks us, hey, can't I just write the content and give it to you through ChatGPT and just give you that content? The answer is no, we don't recommend that. Google and these search engines are smart, and they're becoming even smarter to detecting AI. And so if you just fully write a piece of content using AI, it's not going to help. It's not original. They're not going to deem it as quality content. If anything, it may harm your site rankings as a whole. So we don't recommend writing content from scratch. Getting prompts and getting small bits of information to help, bolster your content, great. And the AI tools are really a great way to improve efficiency when we write content. Keyword research. We're trying to identify those keywords, phrases, questions that people are searching for. This really helps us understand our users and our target audience. Like, what are their pain points? What are they looking for? The questions that they're asking really helps give us an understanding before we even sit down and write the content. And with that, we can also, different tools that we've recommended here, like Google Trends, Google Search Console, these are free that you can use, but there are also a lot of paid tools that help you get more insight into keyword volume. But that's something that we look at as an agency, is the search volume behind keywords. Is it worth us writing an article on this topic? Are enough people searching? And how difficult is it? Depending on the competition of certain keywords, it could be really challenging to rank for certain keywords. And other keywords is like, hey, this is a great win. We could start ranking within a few weeks if we write a piece of content on this, because no one else has written anything. So these tools are really great ways of figuring out that information. Next, things that I'd recommend doing in the infancy of when you want to start optimizing your website, having good keyword research, having a good URL structure. These are really important things to help set you up for success once you start creating more content, writing more pages. These things are going to be really important. So what I mean by the URL structure is it helps create like a hierarchy of the different pages. So you can see here with this example, one aspect is having it make sense and having good descriptive URL structure. With the first one, we can clearly see that The page that we would be going to here is on puppy classes under the dogs category. A bad example is something like the one we have underneath, where it's just a bunch of letters, numbers, there's nothing descriptive, it's not giving us any context as to what the page is about. So this is really important. One thing I also recommend with the URL structure is try not to make them really long. So for instance, if you're writing a blog, let's say here, can URL structure affect web ranking? You know, the actual title might be a bit longer. You might have a few extra words in there, but we try and like condense it down as much as we can so we don't have really long URLs if possible. The next thing that's really important is title tags and meta descriptions. So basically what these are is they're really giving search engines a context to what the page is about. And it's really the first thing that users see before they come to your website when they're doing a Google search. The title tag and meta description is the first impression that the client, customer, potential customer gets before reaching your website. And as we kind of mentioned here, that can really affect the click-through rate, because if you're not providing enough context to what that page is about, or maybe it's not relevant to their search, or maybe it's not persuasive enough to get them to the page, that's going to affect how many people actually click through to the website. So that's a really important thing to focus on. And then these are just a couple of tips in terms of how long they should be. So a title tag should be under 60 characters and a meta description should be under 155 characters. And why is that important? Well, Google's going to cut it off anyway. So you may as well make sure that the most important points that you want to get across fit within that character limit. We just have an example for you here. So an example of a title tag, I'm going to stick with the dog training theme here, but dog training classes have never been easier at Carolina Ranch. So that's an example of a title tag. A better way to phrase that could be dog training classes in Raleigh, North Carolina. Sign up today. So one, you want to get the keyword in there. The next thing is if it's location-based, like if you provide a location-based service, to make sure you get the location in there, because that's just giving Google context to show up. So it shows up for searches in your local area. And then sign up today, giving some sort of call to action, as we like to call it, but something that's going to persuade them to actually then click through to the website. A meta description, you have a bit more, you have more words that you can fit in there, so you can give a bit more context. If they're group and individual dog training classes, and so you can just give some more context. If you're not sure what your current title tag and meta descriptions look like, if you open up one of your pages on your website and you just hover over the tab at the top, like we've highlighted here, it'll show you for that page, oh, here's the title tag, and then a little box will just appear and it'll show you the description as well. Another way of also, if you need more ideas of, okay, well, what are my competitors? What do theirs look like? If you just do a Google search, those, like you see down here, that main title that you see in the searches, that's the title tag. And then when it shows that little description underneath, that's the meta description. So as you see, like as we all do Google searches and you put something into the search and you're then deciding out of the searches, okay, well, which one's right for me? And a lot of us are unaware of it, but you're reading that description and that meta description to make that decision of, okay, which site am I going to click through to? So that's why it's such an important aspect of optimizing your website. As users making that decision of which one would you click on, this one in the middle, for instance, is more of, it's clearly going to take us to a service page of dog training in Raleigh. This one underneath is a blog about dog training and commands, and it's more of an informative piece of information. So again, it depends on what the user is looking for, but it gives you that context as to what what that user can expect by going to the different pages. Okay, so next up is headings. Our main heading for every page in the SEO world we call a H1. So this is the kind of main title of the page. What is it about? But we only have one. So the most important thing with a H1 is that there's only one per page. Quite often it's similar to the title tag. So it could be, dog training classes in Raleigh, North Carolina. So you have the keyword in there, you have the location, but it may not be quite the same as the title tag. It's kind of good if they're slightly different. And then you can see from our kind of screenshot on the right, just the hierarchy then of how to form the headings. So under a H1, you always have a H2 and then a H3, a H4, etc. So just this really helps, one, organize your content. What we have seen from user behavior is that having big blocks of content it's not user friendly. People just glaze over it. Whereas those headings really kind of help break up the content. So definitely use them to your advantage, but don't use them for like styling purposes. Actually use them for their purpose, because like we said, these crawlers and search engines, they don't see the visual of how it looks, but they're reading, okay, well, this H3 is kind of a subtopic to the heading above. And so we want to make sure that we're kind of following that principle with what the content is about. Optimizing images. So we all love to see images on the site. It gives us nice visuals. But if we have lots of images, one thing to be cautious about is the size of the images. So before you upload them to the website, we do recommend that they're around 100 kilobytes or less, ideally. Sometimes if you have really big images that you just need to be a bit bigger, that's fine. But one, having really large files of images is that it can slow down the website. So we really don't want the site to be loading slowly because of the size of an image. So really be mindful of the sizes of the images that you're uploading. Next, before you upload the image, I'd always give it a good file name, because believe it or not, Google sees those file names. It's not just something that you see on the back end of the website that nobody sees. So give it context to the file name. And if you're wondering, okay, well, Google doesn't see these images, how do they know what the image is about? That's where the alt text comes in. So whether you're using WordPress websites or Shopify or another website builder, they give you the option to add in an alt text for the image. This is one really important for search engines because, like I said, that's the only content they have about the image. So being as contextual as you can, giving it a lot of description, the better. But it's also for screen readers. Screen readers, they can't see the image and they're having to describe what the image is about, and they do that by reading the alt text. So having alt text added to an image is essential for your site to be ADA compliant as well, and for search engines. Next on the list is internal links. So like I briefly touched on, the internal links on the site connect pages to other pages on the website. This allows users to navigate more easily through different pages. If they want to read different blog articles, go to the About page, having all those links available just makes that easier and it's better user experience. The next thing is that it also helps identify the main focus for each of the pages to the different search engines. And we like to call them the pillar pages. So tends to be your service pages would be your pillar pages. And then the blog content, maybe the FAQ content that you create surrounding those topics, you want to make sure that you link back to those service pages because they're the money earners. That's what's going to bring you new business, and it helps those pages rank higher. So we have some blogs that we'll keep sharing in the chat, but really recommend taking a look into it because it gives you more detail in terms of more specific tips to kind of go about this. And even bigger picture is that the internal links help establish the site architecture as a whole. And that's just important for both users and the search engines. And this just kind of gives you a visual. So usually our homepage is kind of the source of everything. And then all of the links that come out from the homepage, the service page, the about page, the product pages, the different blog, the contact us page. And so you kind of have this like expansion of this links to this links to this. And so you kind of can see that dynamic of how the links work between each of the pages. The big one as part of our on-page SEO is that unique quality content. There's a lot of competitors out there, especially when you move into that digital world, there's even more competitors. And so really being able to describe what you offer that's unique to your visitors is really important, because the first challenge is getting them to the page and to the website. The next thing is convincing them that you're the right fit for them or your product is the right fit for them. The next thing is the content engaging? Is it relevant to what they're looking for? If it's service related, are you addressing exactly the services that you offer within that? Are you giving them enough information to be like, okay, this might be the right fit for me, I'm going to reach out. This is also a great way for you as business owners or website managers, whatever your roles may be, is it also helps block out irrelevant leads that you might not want. Of course, we always want to get as many leads as we can, but we want them to be quality. And so if you can disqualify users that are coming to your site, this is our client, this is our type. We work with enterprise businesses or we work with small businesses. That's also giving context to the user. And so it helps to filter out those low quality leads of people that aren't the right fit for you. The next thing is that search engines just love new content. So for our clients, we are posting blogs consistently at least once a month, if not more. Once you have really fleshed out and nailed your service pages and your product pages, you're not necessarily adding a new service to your business every week or every month. So a great way to add that consistent content going forward is through the blogs. And that helps create that relevance around your main offerings as well. New employee information, if you hire somebody new, providing that information is great for search engines and also good, depending on the line of business that you're in. That really helps for people to make their decision if they're the right fit. What credentials do they have? And like we touched on, the commonly asked questions, the FAQs. Now that's a great easy win because there's always new FAQs that seem to surface. And so just continually fleshing out the questions that people ask you. Now, that could be you do a quick search in Google and you have the frequently asked section in Google. That's a great way to come up with questions that might be relevant, but also just what you hear from your customers and your clients. What are their pain points when you get them on the phone? What is it the main thing that they keep asking you? And can you address those questions on the website? So they're kind of great places to start for that. We're going to move on to the off-site aspect of SEO. So we have it split into these two sections because they're the two key aspects. We have all the effort and work that we put into optimizing the actual website, and then there's things that we can do off the website that can help, or that do help with the site rankings. Big one is backlinks. So backlinks are essentially links from external sources pointing to your website. And this main thing here is the quality of the backlinks. So, you don't want, the goal should be to get quality, relevant backlinks pointing to your website. This enhances the authority and the trust of your website. If you're having these credible sources that are linking to your site, that's a great indicator to Google that in your area of expertise, and it just makes you more authoritative in your space. One of the important aspects is, as much as we can't always control the relevancy of the anchor text, but the anchor text is essentially the link that takes you from that external source to your website. So if we can get in those keywords in the anchor text, the better. But for us, content and backlinks are the two most, when we work with clients, those are the two most important aspects that we work on to improve rankings on Google, because they're the biggest hitters in terms of what makes the biggest impact. Now, there are different types of backlinks. A great place to start is if you are providing a local, like a service to specific areas, or you have a physical location, is to start with some local listings. So the first thing would be a Google business profile. I'm sure we've all seen those with showing reviews, gives you like an about. So if you don't have a Google business profile set up, that would be a great thing to do once you get off this webinar. The next thing would be the directory site. So that's loads of other, there's hundreds of directory sites that you can create free profiles on. Yelp, Apple Maps, Bing Maps. There's loads of different sites. Better Business Bureau. And then also there'll be the specific ones for each industry as well. So these are some of the questions to kind of think about. Is this backlink worth it? Well, the first question is it related to your industry? Is it going to provide context to what you provide? If it's something totally unrelated, it's probably not worth it. And these questions is really where that quality of the backlink comes in. Is it trustworthy? Do you have to pay for the link? Because some of these sites you do have to pay. That's not necessarily a bad thing if it's the right website and if it's the right article. In the ideal world, we'd all be getting organic backlinks, which if you have great quality content that ranks highly, you will automatically start seeing organic backlinks. But sometimes, needs a little push, and that's where we need to manually create backlinks as well. So I kind of breezed over that section, but we have lots of other resources. We have our blog page that we're continually putting out new content on our blog, different YouTube videos, podcasts, and of course we have our monthly trainings on WordPress and SEO. So if you haven't joined us for our WordPress training, I definitely encourage you to sign up for that. We really appreciate your time this afternoon and taking the time out of your day to join us for this webinar, and we hope you have a great rest of your Thursday afternoon.